Patience, patience, patience is what you need. Because you need all the patience in the world to make sure that you're following your rules, to make sure that you're moving like you're supposed to a T. Took a trade last night in Asian session. Beautiful setup. Even in my notes, I said I would much rather wait until price hits my 4 hour gap. But the way that price was moving, the way that price was reacting right then and there, I said, okay, this is good enough. I'm going to get in right here. Beautiful trade. Trade hit TP. Not before it hit my stop loss. Had I waited like I was supposed to for price to hit my 4 hour gap, I would have not been taken out. I got taken out by 2 freaking ticks because I did not wait. Because I was a little impatient. Because, oh, what if price doesn't go back down to my exact point? Even though it still created a very nice, beautiful setup for me to get in, why did I not wait for my A++? Why did I just feel the need to go ahead and get in? You know, some may say, okay, because you wasn't trying to hesitate, or because, you know, it was the best decision to make because you don't know what's really going to happen. No, you know, like I told my wife today, you know, I can't stand when I take a trade, getting in, even though, like I said, it was still a very nice setup, getting in instead of waiting to the T, because I hate missing trades. I can't stand missing a trade. Like that is the epitome of what's going on. But I much rather miss a trade than take a loss. And I say 7 out of 10. If I do wait patiently like I'm supposed to, I would have won that trade. So there would not have been a loss. That would have not been a missed trade. But I didn't wait. Yeah, and like I said, I can sit here and argue with you. You know, price still set up very nicely. It had a nice little pullback, and then it pushed off of what it pulled back on. But that is not my setup. It's something that I will trade, but that is not what I'm supposed to be waiting on. That is not what I just do. I don't just jump in because, oh, it's she looks good. I done told y'all, it was a long time ago, but I done told y'all, you can't sit there. You do not trust a big button to smile, baby. It's poison, okay? You need to be locked in on you. Don't worry about what anybody else got going on. Worry about you and your business. Because, you know, scrolling on social media after, you know, had a little break, was able to see, you know, there's a couple people that took, I won't say the exact same trade, but they took the trade in the morning and literally ate off of it. I could have been so upset. I could have been, you know, woe is me, like, why is always happening to me? No, I did that. That's my fault. That would have been a beautiful win for me to get today. However, I did not. It is what it is. We show up again the next day. Set it up. Set it right back up and brush it off. I'm not going to sit here and bring yesterday's problems into today. Even though I knew better. Because I was being impatient. This is why, you know, I made that video so long ago when I said patience pays. But it's like right now I'm so hungry. I'm trying to eat whatever's on my plate. You can't always do that. Especially whenever it comes to trading. 2 freaking ticks. Craziest part about it, had I waited for my actual entry off that 4-hour gap, I would have only been in drawdown about what? Let's actually see. Let's actually see right here, right now. If I would have waited for price, I would have been in drawdown 20 ticks. Just drawdown. My stop loss is at 50. I wasn't even halfway in drawdown had I waited for what I was supposed to. It wouldn't have been a scary, super scary moment. It would have been okay. Price is, you know, playing around doing what she need to do. Reacting how I would expect her to react off the gap. And that was that. You have to do better. Speaking to myself, I'm literally talking to myself because I know I have to do better. And it's like, it's days like this where it just fuels me because it's like the move was right. Price hit my TP. Price went a little bit above where I would have even had it to be at TP. Let's see. It was 32 ticks over where my TP was at. That was a beautiful trade and something that would have been so stress free. Don't have to worry about it, you know. And I showed this to my trading buddy, and she was like, you know, one of the things that you might want to do is, you know, start working on limit orders. I've told y'all, I've tried limit orders. They make me so antsy, but they do work, because sometimes I do hesitate. Sometimes I do get impatient, and it's like, if I just take that part out, I'll be fine. No, granted, I still like to look at, I rather live market executions than limit orders, because I actually get to be present and see what's going on with price, instead of just, you know, I plotting this point right here. What if I plot this point right here and it just does something completely opposite whenever it gets there, and now I'm already in, and now I can't do anything about it? I mean, you could close immediately if you want to, but you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know, I'm not upset. Was not a big loss. We lost $65, 65, 67. One of them, freaking 67.32. It is what it is. It was not a major loss, but this is what I be talking about when I say I go back and forth, and I hate that, because the skill set is skilling. But I'm holding myself back because I'm not being patient, or, you know, some of the times that I do hesitate or I do get greedy. You know, I've done a lot better with the hesitation and with the greed, but, you know, there's still things that I have to work on and will continue to work on, because at the end of the day, I can't stop, because it'd be trades like this where it takes me out by a few couple of ticks and still hits my TP, and I'm like, I was wrong in my timing. I was impatient. Just because I knew what I wanted to see does not mean that price was going to give it to me right then and there. Even whenever I got in the trade, I was up. Well, I think at one point this got to like 56 ticks. 54? 55. I got to 55 ticks and started dropping. And started playing, you know, start playing around. And, you know, some could say, you know, well, you should have just took your 50 ticks, or you could have closed right then and there, or as soon as it started to go and draw down. No, that's not my rules. But it's like, that's why I say it's you have to be so much more pristine and so much more on yourself than what you are. Again, speaking to myself, because I can't pick and choose when to follow my rules. I just need to follow my rules to the T. And if that causes me to miss a trade, so be it. If it causes me to lose a trade, so be it. But I rather follow my rules, because in the long run, following my rules always prevails. It always ends up better. Even if in the moment it's not doing what I wanted to do. So that's why I say I hate losing a trade when I'm not following my rules. And, you know, again, yeah, I could say I follow my rules, but no, not really. I'm only trying to get in those guaranteed trades, you know, even though, you know, they say no trade is guaranteed. I get that. But I'm trying to get in where I know I have the best potential to win. Even though this was a good setup, it still had potential to get to where it needed to get to, but it didn't play out. And then, you know, you could just say, oh, well, your stop loss could have been more than that, you know. Whenever the account is accounting, I have at least, because I have room, at the most 70. I think I've had a stop loss of 100 before, but, you know, I'm reaching for bigger feats than just 100 ticks. It is what it is, man. You know, I take it to the chin, charge it to the game, and like I said, it's nothing to complain about. It's just learn from it. How many times do you have to learn from this same mistake? It is what it is. So it sucks, but like I said, it still gives me the enthusiasm to continue and to carry on, because oh God, I think I'm gonna take a picture of this trade and put it in this video somewhere, because it's like, it was a beautiful trade, bro. It's just my timer was off, because I wasn't patient enough to see price go back and hit my 4-hour gap. And I also was not confident enough to believe that price actually would pull off, because not only was I impatient and not waiting, I was so zoned in and so pushing for price to just keep pushing up. It gave me a reaction for my entry, but just because it gave me that reaction doesn't mean that that was the best move for me to make. So it is what it is. You know, like I said, charges to the game. It is what it is. But you know, we live to trade another day. That's it. That's all. That's why I say keep your risk small until you get to doing what you need to be getting to. Until your confidence bar is full back up, or whatever you want to say. It's a part of the game, man. But just don't crash out over nothing like that. Especially when you see that your trades still be hitting. You know you be hitting them things. You know you be calling them things. And just because you might have got shooken out by a couple ticks, okay, that's okay. Readjust. That's all I got for y'all, man. Troop, shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all for kicking with the kid, you know, doing all the YouTube stuff. I really do. I love y'all, man. That's really all I got, yo. More blessing, less stressing. All licks 26. It's your girl TP Tab. I'm out.